Hello, my name's Aaron Beadle, and this is a tutorial for a game I'm currently developing called Feral Dark. I'm developing it using Tabletop Simulator on Steam, where you can play the game from the workshop for free once you purchase Tabletop Simulator. We're going to begin the tutorial following the setup procedure, which is found in the rulebook for the game, which is available in the Tabletop Simulator room. Battles proceed in rounds, usually 5 rounds, and each round begins with emptying the order bag and then placing, each player places an amount of order tokens equal to the amount of ships they control into the bag. So the yellow player will place 3 tokens into the bag, and the red player will place 3 tokens into the bag. These are then shuffled, and one is drawn at random to see whose turn it is. So the red player is now going to choose one of their ships that has not been activated this round so far and activate that ship. They can choose to skip their turn if they want to and draw the next piece, but it's not very often people are going to want to do that. And on the back of the micro rulebook we can see that there's a turn structure to guide us through a ship's turn. So the destroyer is going to activate. The first thing a ship does when it's activated is move. It has to move forward as indicated on its profile, and then any turning is optional. So we can see on this ship's profile in the blue box near the top, it says forward 2 to 3 and then turn 1. This means that we have to move the ship forward 2 or 3 spaces when we activate it, and then if we want to we can turn it 1 hex, so 60 degrees. So we're just going to turn it to face this direction. The next step is to check your ability, which is also found on the profile card in the yellow box. So this ability won't be relevant at the moment. Abilities apply, they will explain when they apply, but they always apply within the ship's turn. A ship cannot use its ability on another player's turn or another ship's turn, unless it is a passive ability. So the next step following that is the crew check, where you reveal a random crew card from the ship. And these crews are built before the game during setup. You can apply the ability of that card if you wish, in which case you leave it out until the end of the turn, or you can just send it back to and not use it, or you can burn it and remove it from play and then do another crew check. So we're going to burn squads to get to gunners. It's worth noting that boarding effects only apply during boarding, so if the card says boarding, it won't have any effect during a crew check, and again that will be explained on the card. So the next step is step 4, where we can attack or board. We could board this frigate here because it's adjacent, but we're going to attack this frigate, and we can see the attack for the destroyer on the profile. So attack is 1 dice, range 6. So we take a dice, we apply it to a target within range 6. We check that it's in the correct arc. The ship fires into its forward arc, which you can see on the hexagon on the left there. We can see that the red indicator for the firing arc is at the front of the ship. And we also check line of sight, which is where you draw a line from the center of from the center of the firing ship to the center of the target ship. The line can't pass through any occupied hexes, otherwise it's invalid. And you also can't shoot between surfaces. So I could shoot across this surface of this ship, but not between these two. That would then be invalid at this point. So this is the furthest one it could hit. So we allocate the dice. You always offer a ship a crew check when you allocate a dice to it to attack. So we offer this ship a crew check. It gets gunners. It's going to choose not to use that. That crew check operates the same as my crew check would on my turn. And then I roll. So I roll a 6. We check the target ship's profile, and we can see that the side armor is 2. If the attack roll is higher than the armor value, the ship is destroyed. So 6 is higher than 2, so this ship is destroyed, and we remove it from the game. And then the final step is step 5, the crew transfer. We're not going to do that at the moment, so we're just going to move my used crew card back into the crew deck for that ship, and then I'll place the order token next to the ship so that we can remember it has activated for this round. We then draw in a new order token at random, and usually it's the player whose turn's just finished that draws that. So this now shows that it's the yellow player's turn. So the yellow player can move this ship. When they activate it, this ship has a different movement profile that allows it to move or turn up to 4 times. So it's going to turn 3 times. In fact, no, it wouldn't. It probably doesn't want to turn at all. So it has a higher front armor value, so it can keep that facing the enemy. We're going to skip through the ability step and the crew check step, and we're going to go straight to the step 4 where we attack or board, and we're going to board this ship. So to board a ship, you just reveal all of its crew. You reveal all of your crew. And if the total attack value of your crew exceeds the total defense value of the target crew, you win the boarding. If it does not, you lose the boarding, and whoever loses the boarding loses all of their crew. So we can see the total attack of my ship is currently 1. The defender has 1 defense. I can activate the boarding effect on squads, which lets it increase its attack by discarding it. So I now have 3 attack, which is higher than the defender's 1 defense, so the defender loses all of their crew. And before I put my crew back onto my ship, I'm going to use the step 5 transfer crew. I may just redistribute the crew of my active ship with an adjacent ship that isn't controlled by an enemy. And since this enemy ship no longer has any crew on it, it's no longer controlled by that player. So I can take any amount of my cards I want, and I can place them on that ship to claim control of it. There we go. And then I mark my ship as exhausted to show that it's activated this round. And then the yellow player gets another turn. And the final thing you can do in the game is collisions. So we're going to move this destroyer forward 3 spaces as per its profile, which you can see over here. Which means it's going to move into this occupied space. Anytime a piece moves into an occupied space, it rolls a collision check comparing the values at the point of contact, the armor values. So in this case, the front armor value of the destroyer is hitting the rear armor value of the frigate. So we can see the front armor of the destroyer is 4 and the rear of the frigate is 2. We turn to the 3rd page of the mini rulebook where we can see collisions. So the armor of the moving piece, which is 4, is reduced by the armor of the stationary piece, which is 2. The result then shows you a reference number on the chart at the bottom left there. So you can see 4 minus 2 would be 2. So we can see on the chart that for a 2 you need a 4 plus to survive the collision. So the active player will roll a dice. If they get a 4 plus, they survive the collision. And surviving the collision means that you destroy whatever was in the way. And they could then finish their movement as normal, as though the ship hadn't existed. If you fail the roll and you get, for example, a 3, or fail for a 4 plus, a 3 would be a failure. Your ship is destroyed and your turn ends immediately, and this ship would survive. And again, that ship would be unaffected by the collision. And then you would draw the next turn. And players will continue to draw turns and activate their ships, either until there are no ships left to be activated, or there are no order tokens left in the bag to be drawn. And once that's the case, the round has ended, and you gather it together, all the order tokens, of matching a matching number that the amount matching the amount of ships a player controls. So the yellow player would now get 2 and the red player would now get 2. So we'd get rid of these, and then round 2 would begin, following the same process again. So there's a micro rulebook that goes through all of this. Each page is one of the steps, and then on the back you've got the summary. And a battle will usually involve playing 5 rounds and then totaling up who has the most surviving ships. And moon points, and the rules for those will be in the scenario or battle rules in the rulebook. Thank you for watching the tutorial, and hopefully you can enjoy Game of Feral Dark sometime in the future. Cheerio. I forgot how to start recording. There we go.